In this video, I want to take a look at a PayPal button plugin called Enhanced PayPal Shortcodes. Now, probably the main reason for using this particular plugin would be to have any type of PayPal button on your site, whether it's buy now, it could be subscription, it could be a hosted button. There's all kinds of PayPal buttons you can have. So let's go and install this right now. This one is called Enhanced PayPal. There we go. When we activate it, what we're going to find is there's not a lot to it. Okay, activate the plugin. And we go here, there is no settings page for it listed here. And if you look under here, anywhere on the sidebar here, you're not going to find anything for it. And that's one of the drawbacks of it. There's no documentation right in WordPress. What you have to do is go back to its plugin page on the WordPress directory. And then when you click on FAQ, it's then going to send you to the website for the plugin. So again, it would have been handy to have this at least on the WordPress site. So you get here, and what it's got is some examples for you. Okay. So here is the kind of shortcode you're going to need to put into your site. And let's try this one right here. I'm going to grab this code. So the square bracket to the square bracket. I copy it. I'm going to go back over to here, and I'm going to go to my pages, and I'll go to our evaluation services. And let me put this in right after in-store evaluation, let's say. And I'm going to change things like $50, and I'll put in my own email address for my PayPal. And the name of it, I'm going to call this in-store evaluation. So it's fairly manual, and you've got to change the shortcode right here. No shipping, that is $0, $0. No shipping, I think, should be 0. But again, I don't know. I can't remember if that's the proper code or not. Put 0, but I think it might be. And I have to think about what is my dollar code. I've got to remember the 3-letter code for it. Okay. So let's do that. So we're going to update it. And let's view the page and see what happens. Now we're actually going to get a problem. There's the shortcode live on our site. Now, what happened to our button? Well, the reason actually was mentioned back over here, and you can miss this easily. It says right here, remove the spaces from between the square brackets. Now, what they actually mean is the space at each end of the square brackets. So if I go back to here, and if I tighten this up, watch this, I go like that, and I go like that, then hit update. Now we'll actually see our button. Now it's fairly small as is. You can fortunately change it right from here. There's an attribute called image width. Let me put that up to say 150 pixels. 150 pixels wide. So now it's bigger. Now, this can't be infinite because you're actually messing around with a GIF file, and GIFs do not collapse and expand easily. Let's say I go to 200. Watch what happens. Now it starts to look a little pixelated on the edges. So you don't have infinite control over the sizing, but at least you've got some control. Okay. Now, really, this plugin is really just taking what you would normally get if you generated a button on PayPal and pasted the code right in here. It's really doing everything the same, except it's not doing it in HTML. It's processing it through the plugin. In other words, for example, here's PayPal, and if I generate a button for something, here's the code it generates for me. Okay. This is called a hosted button, which means that none of the information is displayed visibly to the public in the way that this information here, like the currency, your email address, all of that is displayed publicly With a hosted button, it's not. So in this case, I'm generating a hosted button. Let me grab the text here for it. I'm going to grab it, and let me put it in underneath here. In other words, let's say I don't have the plugin at all, and I just go to PayPal and I put in this code, and I save it, update there. I will get that second button, but I won't get it because of the way I pasted it in. So I need to make sure that I paste it in, not in the visual mode. See, that's what happens. If you paste it in through the visual mode, it's not going to work. So let me take that out. In fact, I'm going to go to HTML. And where's my code? There we go. I just go like this. Now I'm in HTML mode and I paste in my code. Watch what happens. Now it's actually going to work for me. So now I've got a PayPal button using the code. I don't even have to have this plugin. However, what happens sometimes, it doesn't happen all the time, is when I switch back and forth in WordPress to visual mode, let's try this right now, you can see that the code from PayPal shows as a button, but if I go back to HTML mode, it can sometimes strip out my coding. In this case, it hasn't, so I'm okay. So sometimes you're all right, sometimes you're not. If you use these short codes, then you're safe no matter what you do with visual versus HTML mode. However, as I said, it is a bit hard to use because you've got to stop and go back to this website and grab the short codes for it and then make your own changes to the short code, which again is not always easy to know. Here's all these parameters here. We've got to stop and go through here and say, how do I use all these parameters? So there's a lot to learn. It's not super user-friendly that way. However, if you're fairly familiar with PayPal, it's a quick way of inserting a shortcode and preserving when you're going from visual to HTML and not having problems that way. And again, there's a fair number of parameters you can work with here, including being able to do subscriptions. You can see here, you can do subscription buttons and have trial periods and so forth. So a fair bit of flexibility, but not very user-friendly. The WordPress plugin, again, is called Enhanced PayPal Shortcodes.